Do not create optimistic or pessimistic outcomes. This is what you do. If you were a hunter, you would wake up and go hunt. Runner, you wake up and run. You just do what you do. Doesn't matter what happens around you. Doesn't matter what happens inside you. You just do what you have to do.
Hey, welcome to the Founder Real Talk podcast by Wisdom Partners. I'm your host, Josh Broward. I'm the CEO of Wisdom Partners, and our whole mission is just to help founders succeed. And so one way we're doing that is with this podcast. Two of the things we hear most often from founders is that they feel lonely and they feel like their problems are unique, that they're the only ones with these kind of problems, and so they must be messing up. And so one of the big objectives of this podcast is to tackle both of those, to help founders feel more connected to other founders and to understand we're all in the thick of it. We're all in the struggle. It's a mess for everybody. It's just different levels of mess, and different rooms are messy at different times, sort of. So today we have Sandro O, and he's warned me not to try to say his last name. So Sandro, before we go any further, help us say your last name correctly.
Hi, Josh. Thanks for having me. It's Okropiridze. So yeah, I saved you a struggle.
Okay, Okropiridze.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
B-. So Sandro is based in San Francisco now, but comes from Georgia, not Atlanta, Georgia, but the country Georgia in Eastern Europe, and is a serial entrepreneur. He has exits under his belt and currently is heading up Velen, which is an AI chief of staff platform, and another startup called Parable, which is still in stealth mode. So he's a lifelong, curiosity-driven entrepreneur who wants to make the world better. And these days, he thinks the highest leverage point to do that is through AI. So that's why he keeps doing these AI startups. So Sandro, so glad to have you on the call. Could you tell us a little bit about Velen and Parable?
Yeah, so with Velen, changed a lot, and it came out as a product from experiments that we did with my previous story AI. And so right now, Velen is, like your companion for work. We stripped out everything that is in AI that is not work related. Instead of chat session history, it creates stacks, thing like where the memory is saved, and chat can be cleared, but source of truth is that stack stays, and you can work for weeks on a particular project or something without ever hitting a token context window. Like, different LLMs have different context windows, and you'll never hit that limit, and your AI will be in the know of the project, and you can work on that. As for Parable is still in like stealth mode. We don't have anything on LinkedIn. I have a great team with Parable, ex-Calendly, ex-Johnson & Johnson, really good team from SF, and one co-founder from Georgia, two co-founders from here. And so Parable is still very, very new. And with Parable, basically what we're trying to achieve, as I'm talking about it, to make complex things simple and act on complex knowledge, take actions on complex knowledge with its real-time guidance and support and understanding. So it's sort of transferring knowledge and guiding you to take actions based on that, which is like minimizes your probability of you making mistakes or trying to figure out things that are too complex or too new for a particular person, and it adapts to each person.
I mentioned a little bit about this in the intro, but can you help us understand more about why you're so drawn to AI and to doing startups in the AI space?
Yeah, so I started working on AI before ChatGPT, so it was 2021. I think in 2016 or 17, I read that book by Ray Kurzweil, Age of Spiritual Machines. And I was always like inspired by sci-fi movies and books. So we started working on AI when it was DaVinci 2 from OpenAI, pre-Chat GPT. And well, AI is also another tool to solve problems. It's a relatively new tool, and we are trying to use that. So that's basically it.
Thank you. What's a win that you have had in the last year or so that you're really proud of?
I'm really proud of my new team for Parable. It's a great team, and it took lots of effort, and there are many different aspects that create ground or stage to form a great team. On paper, lots of people can look good or talented, but in real world experience, in real teamwork, in real struggle, that's when a great team forms. And once there is a really connected team, plus they have competency, and they are not only like sort of technical, but they understand different aspects. So you can basically have a philosophical conversation with your team. With engineer, you can discuss anything, business, marketing, code, anything. That's, I think, a good setup for a startup team. Everybody is generalist, while they have their special superpowers.
How many teams have you built? How many, as the CEO, how many startup teams have you built?
I don't remember, 4 or 5, I think.
And as you, having done this 4 or 5 times, what have you learned about the right way or the best way or some key components of assembling your team?
It's not only a resume. How that resume gets applied to real life is different, and it's impossible to build a great team based on resumes, because once it will be like battle tested, it will be different. And also rate of growth, I would say, at a certain point, a particular person can be really good, but as startup and the team evolves, everybody should evolve at that rate. So that is also really important. And also human aspect, like integrity. A person is this person and will stay that kind of person. Will develop and experience new things, new skills, but as a person, this person has principles, values, and will stand and keep them. That's also really important. There will be struggle, that's for sure.
So I'm really interested in 2 things that you said. One is their rate of growth or their growth capacity. The other is integrity. How do you try to hire for those? Like how do you discern or look for those in the interview process?
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that like founding team or co-founders go through like a typical interview process. It's more of a getting to know a person, and vice versa. It's sometimes a really good person, but wouldn't have that kind of competencies or ability to be a co-founder. So you want to work with those guys in some way, do something together while you are exploring them as a person, getting to know them. And while doing something there's a tight deadline, there is pressure. In that pressure or battle, you form a connection, and only after that, I think it makes sense to like join forces and build a startup. Otherwise, based on a resume, it means nothing.
Great. Thank you. One thing we like to say here at Wisdom Partners is wisdom is failure redeemed. Yeah, we have between our founders and our coaches, we have about 16 exits. And that sounds cool, but it also means we failed a whole bunch of times. So, and then we learned from it. So what is a failure for you that you have learned from and kind of earned some wisdom?
Yeah, I would call failure a pain, and it's like a essential ingredient. And then there have been so many. It's an essential ingredient for growth. No pain, like there's no gain or something. But I don't even remember a particular thing, but there's so many. You think different, you act different. Yeah, and I think that is also an advantage to a startup, because as you grow and build your company, it's more stable. You want better life. You try to avoid pain, and founders always get into that pain, and that pain changes how you act, how you think, how you move, and that becomes an advantage when you see the other guy is in that kind of comfort that they will now try not to experience pain, and they have so many people, not even pain, but like slight discomfort already is a no-go for them. So I think in its essence, startup, or let's call it an underdog, has its own advantage, which is that kind of struggle, pain, or failure.
As you're talking, I was thinking about a formula that I read from these two scholars, Keegan and Leahy out of Harvard. They say pain plus reflection within a supportive community equals growth or development. Specifically, they're writing about leader development and leader growth, but the combination, like you're going to have pain, so you better reflect on it, and you need a safe community that can sort of hold you, create a container for your reflection on pain, then you can grow. What are your thoughts?
I think pain is really personal, and you need to reflect internally. But when you are with other founders and when you are close enough with them, you see that they say things, and wow, you think, well, this guy has been through that exactly, or something like. You don't expect that, because in our field, you are always hiding that. You are always like elated, and we are building this. We are so pumped up, and you do not really talk about that. And yeah, and it's right. It makes no sense. Nobody wants to hear your sad story or struggle. Everybody wants to hear your wins, and you talk about wins. But when you see that other people have gone through that processes at different stages of life or building a startup, it further validates that it is okay for you. You are not like in as we say sometimes, I've heard that from investors, and that you could experiment 1,000 times, but never find the right one. Just think that you are experimenting rapidly doesn't have a real value. Just only that I'm experimenting. We're shipping it twice a week. Every week, you can continue that indefinitely. And in that same way, you could just be into pain and struggle all the time, but it could be never ending process. So yeah, then in that sense, if we call that reflection, it makes sense that pain also left some value, not just that was a pain.
Yeah, you're reminding me of an old scholar, Dewey, around in the early 1900s. He's the guy we got the Dewey Decimal System in libraries, but he said roughly, nobody ever learned anything from experience, only from reflection on experience. Yeah, so nobody ever learned anything from pain. All right. So next question. What are some of the best professional investments that you have made in the last year or two?
I think getting more technical, understanding technology more at a level that I can build a product on my own. So it helps you. It helps you differentiate what's real and what's just like hype, and what is possible at what time frame. Because timing is also very critical. I don't mean timing that you create a product at certain conditions of the market, and either you are early or late. And I don't mean that at all. I mean by timing that you make a bet that while you are building this company, technology or infrastructure will get to a certain point in a certain time period. And if you miss that bet, either your company gets consumed by any large players, or you are in constant that pain, struggle, experimenting, and the technology is not coming. So it's like, yeah, you are opening a shop and expecting the road will come, or road will pass you, or road will take completely different direction. So understanding technology deeper, working on it on my own, not just throwing away tasks and expecting outcomes, but doing it yourself, especially here in SF, has been really useful.
Thank you. What do you think is the biggest challenge you're trying to solve right now?
That's the combination of challenges. And yeah, there's no single challenge. Everything is interlinked. And I don't think about it like that there's a challenge. I wake up, I do what I do. It doesn't matter yesterday we had a success or how I feel or yesterday it was a failure. I do what I need to do every day. I'm not pessimist. I'm not optimist anymore. I just do what I do. So I really don't care. I'll wake up tomorrow and do what I have to do.
Okay, that's fair.
At a young age, I figured out do not dramatize, do not romanticize, do not tragedize, just do.
Given that, can you help us understand some of the problems you're working on or issues you're trying to solve?
In Parable, right now, we are working on identifying real ICP because as the technology is new, it resonates with many different people and everybody. So when having an interview, you are saying that, oh, I have that problem. Another guy will say, find another angle. Oh, I have that problem. So you never see that I don't have that problem. What are you talking about? Everybody finds some kind of use case, but you want to be like laser focused on one and like differentiate that sort of noise from and signal and actual problem to keep that focus. And yeah, and after that feedback and analyzing that, it's a whole new like fight and discussion within the team because it requires changes, it requires direction, and that can happen like every day. So there are lots of discussions and around ICP, which is ideal customer profile.
Great, thank you. All right, here's a different question. If you had to give one piece of advice to seed stage founders, what would you say is the most important thing for them?
I think just like do not create optimistic or pessimistic outcomes. This is what you do. If you were a hunter, you would wake up and go hunt. Runner, you wake up and run. You just do what you do. Doesn't matter what happens around you. Doesn't matter what happens inside you. You just do what you have to do. And those like you can also become influenced by the charisma or by the message or feeling that you portray and that you pass to other people. So don't get influenced by what you sell. You just do what you do every day. It doesn't matter. Everybody is doing like that, even though on social media or somewhere it looks like somebody's all every day like effortlessly succeeding. And just do what you have to do. Doesn't matter. You are one in 8 billion. I like to say like that. It's your personal drama at a global scale. Doesn't really matter. Like there are people in much harder conditions than you trying to figure out ICP. Come on, man.
Thank you. So if there's somebody out there listening to this who thinks, man, I dig what Sandro is working on, and they want to support Velen or Parable, how can they help? What kind of intros are you looking for? That kind of stuff.
On LinkedIn, when somebody's tagline starts, I help, usually I sell on LinkedIn language. When I see somebody, I help, come on. You're not helping, you're selling something to me. And but it's okay to sell as well. I don't know, just reach out, grab a coffee. I like real talks rather than some kind of let's exchange value into value right away. And then the value exchange will happen eventually. It's better to know people and founders. Supporting founders in terms of business intros or everything is the biggest support and a way to get some doors open than any other, I think. Because as a founder, you feel another founder and naturally you want to support, you resonate with another founder rather than some enterprise company CEO and trying to get to talk to that guy. And
yeah, thank you. I love that. We say on LinkedIn, we help founders succeed. So, so I get it. We have the same language, but really, our point is what you're talking about, helping founders talk to founders and have support from people who really understand what the journey is like. So thanks for your insights today. Thanks for sharing what your journey is like. I really appreciate it. And for anybody out there who is interested in hearing more about Wisdom Partners, we help founders overcome the hero complex where everything depends on them and start building a company that can run without them. So hit us up at wisdompartners.llc. And if you have a question you want us to talk about on Founder Real Talk, you can email us at frt@wisdompartners.llc or in the show notes. And we'll catch you next time. And hit up Sandro. He wants to have coffee with you.
Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, thank you.